Oh no, we lost our feed. That's okay. It's 1 o'clock anyway. Welcome to this week's episode of Total Health Live, where we will not be undone by technological failures or mishaps. I'm Dr. Christopher Vogelmann of at Dr. Vogelmann everywhere, and with me, as always, is the nutritionist to the stars, the famous Monika Klein.
Nothing will stop us,
Nothing will stop us.
technology or anything,
Yeah,
weather or technology.
I'm sorry, I got my hat on.
What does that say? San Diego, which reminds me, as
It's
we
San
dive
Diego
into
CSI. CSI is it's coronavirus spike investigation.
Central, which we'll dive into COVID news right away. One of my aides was visiting your area over the weekend, over the holiday weekend, and 3 of his family members are suspect of having COVID, of the Delta variant. And he said very few people are wearing masks down there. Mm-hmm. And so he can't come back until he gets tested.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Let's see my sister months ago, back in February, where she couldn't even board a plane until she got tested to go back to New York because New York wouldn't allow her back in without a negative test.
Yeah. Well, he's got 2 sick children. They're 5 years old. So he's got to make sure they're okay before he can move on with what he needs to do. So
yeah, I note that the number of cases that are happening, they tend to be running a lot more towards the younger population, and
that's what they're saying.
Like the 20 to 35-year-olds, the millennials.
Exactly. That's what they're saying.
Oh, and some Gen Zers too, because the Gen Zers top out at like around 24 years of age. So.
I went to Trader Joe's yesterday and I masked up, and there were, like, I'd say maybe 40% didn't, but I try to go at a time where there's nobody there, like when everyone's having dinner.
I'm actually surprised that it was that many were masking up, because in all the grocery stores I've been in here, here.
Well, there you go. That's what's happening in San Diego. That's what I hear.
It was like 10 or 20% were masked.
No. This was about 40% weren't. But I kind of like noticed a sort of I don't want to use the word arrogance, but let me say arrogance of some of the people who weren't masked. And I thought it was really odd that they would have that kind of like posturing. If you're not going to mask, if you're not going to mask up, at least be considerate of those who are, or still maintaining some of the social distancing, some of the the recommendations. At least have respect and not just sort of like, I don't care, I'm not masking, and I don't care.
I think the one that gets me in the grocery store is when somebody comes up to me really close. Yeah. And I was like, I didn't invite you into my personal space.
Well,
are you challenging me?
That's pre-COVID anyway, but that's an arrogance too. That's an arrogance that I noticed that you can decide you don't want to wear masks, but there are people that do want to wear masks. So be considerate, at least. I mean, I guess that's too much to ask, maybe. I don't know. For those who do. And again, we don't know if those unmasked people have been vaccinated or not. So people are vulnerable for sure. Vulnerable.
Who is that masked man?
Yeah. So, okay, so more than a half of the Delta cases that have been found recently, that have been identified recently, are in the Midwest. Like, this is in the last week.
That makes sense. I'm surprised it's not like in Alabama or someplace like that. I'm going to welcome some folks on Instagram Live just for the heck of it.
That sounds great.
Because we can.
Because we can. That's right.
Hello, Instagram Live people. I'm here with Monika Klein. Just letting them know I'm here. We're talking about the CSI, which we're referring to as Corona Spike investigation, and we were talking about people being arrogant about not wearing masks at Trader Joe's.
Well, maybe arrogant is too strong a word, but disregard. Let's say that maybe a little bit of a disregard going on there. But Corona Central, Corona Del Mar, isn't that down in San Diego?
No, that's
Where's Corona Del Mar? Why don't
It's
I know
just
that?
Del Mar. I don't think of it as Del.
Oh.
It's just Del Mar. So you're
Isn't
thinking
there?
there's a Corona, California, and that's
Yes.
a Del Mar, California. And if you choose to mash them up, you may offend both
No,
towns'
I
residents.
think there is a Corona Del
There
Mar,
might be.
but I
There
may
might
be
be.
wrong. I may be wrong.
Well,
Anyway,
yeah.
back to the COVID news.
COVID news. That
I
you can
had
use.
some interesting. So with regards to the Delta variant,
Yeah.
what they're saying is the symptom pattern is a little bit different, and it's sort of like top down: headache, runny nose, sore throat, and sneezing. Sort of.
Sneezing?
Top down, sneezing.
Sneezing was never one of those for the regular.
Yeah, I mean, to me, that sounds like a cold. I mean,
or allergies.
And it's interesting because I have had, off and on sore throats in the last few months.
Yeah.
So I did check for antibodies. I did do an antibody test, and I didn't have any. So I guess I haven't got anything. So with the Delta variant, they're not seeing a loss of taste or fever at all, which makes it a little bit different than the original.
The original. This isn't like original Coke, like classic Coke versus new Coke.
I don't know. I mean,
classic
we make
Corona.
light of it, but it's not to be making light of at all. But I guess that's the only way we can cope. But if you do have any of the symptoms, test, then isolate. So that's really, really important. In the UK, they've got something coming. It's called Freedom Day on July 19th, and it seems to me that they're trying to head for herd immunity to decrease the risk of winter pressure on the NHS. So that's their National Health Service.
So we're gonna kill off a few so we can have a better winter.
Well. I don't know. I mean, I don't think that's
my cynical. That's my cynical view of some of the UK's approach.
But it's which the biggest concern with getting COVID, of course, is not only the severity but also this long COVID that they're talking about.
Well,
which
it's a long hauler.
Yeah, long hauler, long COVID. It's really what it's called, long COVID. So that means if you're still having symptoms over 12 weeks, and primarily one of the major ones is fatigue. Yeah. So there's more risk of long COVID versus risk of death if you get it, and less hospitalization.
In fact, I found this. I'm going to show this to you because this is from the AMA. We're very interesting about the so-called long haulers, as that's the term that I was using it through there. And having experienced some of this stuff myself, I can tell you that the brain fog is a real deal. But my experience was, it's almost like with PTSD or so. They almost feel like they've got insomnia, neurological cases, all kinds of crazy stuff that the AMA is talking about here. I mean, some people have hair loss, all kinds of stuff. It's just amazing.
I think it's long haulers. Some call it long haulers, some call it long COVID. But one of the biggest ones, and they're kind of associating it with chronic fatigue syndrome as well as potential for this long haul symptom pattern.
Yep.
So that is definitely a concern. And so they're saying long COVID is not related to the severity of the initial infection. So it's not similar. It's not like the severity, but so the biggest thing is the fatigue and the chronic fatigue. So they're looking at the percentage of people who do get infected, the percentage of those that would get long COVID. So they're predicting 1.2% of those in their 20s would be more likely to get long COVID, and 47% middle-aged are more likely to get.
Well, how do you define middle age? How do you define middle age?
Well, I mean, classically, I always say it's 60 to 90. Middle age.
60 to 90 is middle age. You're planning to
because you're supposed to actually live until 120 if we didn't have all the stresses and all the other things that we
have. If middle age was 90, you'd be 180.
No, No,
Why not?
60 to 90, and then 90 to 120 is old age. That's how it goes. However, I think in our society, we consider middle age like 40 to 60 or 40 to 70 or something like that.
The big question is, when do you have your middle age crisis? Typically,
the question is, or the answer is that it's quite significant for those who are a little bit older to suffer from the long COVID should they get the infection.
Is that because of bad lifestyle habits, perhaps?
And the definition of the long COVID is an inability to return to normal duties after 12 weeks. That's what long COVID, that's what that means.
Yeah.
Let me see. So I'll tell you what else. Okay, so unvaccinated, 1 in 80 will get, those unvaccinated, 1 in 80 will get long COVID.
Sounds about right.
And especially those who get infected right now, that's what we're talking about. 500 people per day will have their lifestyle impacted, and will have this long COVID for a year or more. They're saying.
Right. Yeah, I can understand that.
So that's a lot of people off work for a long time.
Right. Well, I mean, and you had given stats on San Diego County to me earlier that the Delta variant was 5% in San Diego back in May, 35% in June, and within 2 weeks we should be at 70% penetration of the Delta variant. So
that's
crazy.
Quite significant, a jump for sure. Here's another thing, COVID symptom tracker against the Delta variant, vaccination protection against the Delta variant. So unvaccinated, it's 5.25%.
Yep.
That will have that issue. 1 dose, it's 3.2% that will have some of the symptoms of the Delta variant, or the protection, let's say. And then if you have 2 doses, you are 0.99%. You're like 99% protected against the Delta.
Yeah, which is pretty amazing, actually, because you think about even flu vaccines and other things like that. I mean, they usually only offer somewhere between 50 to 60% protection against flus in any given season, because the variants of the flu virus were often not put into the vaccine, and the vaccines weren't terribly effective.
And I know I brought this up a couple of weeks ago, but they're still seeing better results if you don't get that second vaccine, that second shot right away. If you wait at least 8 weeks, there are better results. They're saying that in Europe and the UK. Well, that's part of Europe. So, yeah.
Well, the UK is also going for herd immunities.
Yeah, but this is their Freedom Day. This is pre-Freedom Day. So it's actually not the UK. It's actually not the UK. It's only England, because Scotland is still going to mandate masks and all sorts of things. But this is just England with their Freedom Day.
So they're not including Wales?
Well, no, I guess not. No,
or Northern Ireland?
England. It's not Ireland. It's just specifically England, their Freedom Day.
Okay.
So, yeah, everyone thinks England is Britain, but no, England's just one part of Britain, or the UK.
Let's make Britain great again. So what about should we move on to anything like about the testing and other things?
Well, I think I basically covered it. If you do have any of those symptoms, the top-down symptoms that might indicate that you have the Delta variant, again, those are headache, runny nose, sore throat, and sneezing.
Well, the only reason I ask that is because you had a question posed here, which is testing needed again?
Well, yes, in this situation, it would be. And so I think what we were going with that question was, I thought, aren't we done with that? But no, we're not done with that yet.
Oh, hells no.
We're not done with that yet. It was sort of like the thing, get tested. And then the vaccine came out and no one was testing because that was the great savior, right? And now we're back to having it all. We're doing it all. We have to, assess, make sure. And, again, this sort of, I don't think I would have been as well, I wouldn't say interested. I probably wouldn't have gone this far with this in this broadcast today, but I was personally touched by it with a worker here, someone who is a nurse here, or a provider here. So so it's happening.
Whenever it hits close to home, you pay a lot more attention to it. That's for sure.
Absolutely, no doubt.
And I have this feeling, and this is where my wife and other friends, they all say that I'm a big pessimist. I said, no, I'm just watching human behavior. I said, watch for your 4th of July spike coming in 2 or 3 weeks to a hospital near you.
Theaters and hospitals.
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate, but people.
The hospital theater near you.
People are getting way too. This is not General Hospital, nor is it Days of Our Lives, as saying through the hourglass.
Yeah, and I'm assuming my husband just had an appointment with his pulmonologist, and he had to urgently go because he runs the ICU at our local hospital here, and he had to urgently go to the ICU and cancel his appointments for that particular afternoon. So there is something happening, and I guess I'm happy that if my husband was in the hospital, I'm glad it was 2 weeks ago, not now.
Better to have been there. Yeah.
I don't know if there are pockets. I mean, certainly I'm hearing San Diego is a pocket for that kind of thing. I don't know about this county I'm in, or 2 counties.
Well, LA County is reinstituting the mask mandate for indoor activity. So that's
and it depends where you live in LA County. I mean, I'm almost in Ventura County. Like I can walk across the street. I'm in Ventura County. So almost, really, it's true.
I was going to say that. So we've noticed things in Mexico, which is very interesting because folks in Mexico whom we know have gotten the Pfizer vaccine, which I found to be amazing because I thought they were all getting Sputnik, the Russian vaccines we talked about last week. But the other thing that's pretty interesting is that there's certain states within Mexico, but it's the United States of Mexico, by the way, Estados Unidos de Mexico.
Yeah.
And so like one state, which is Campeche, is in southern Mexico. They're on total lockdown again because the virus is just spreading like crazy.
So it just depends where you are. And I heard that Pfizer is developing a Delta variant vaccine. So I guess we have to follow the money sometimes. And
but it's just not following the money. I think it also has to do with the fact that there is a need, and people will satisfy that need. Now, and if money comes in its wake, it's the whole thing. Like within internet marketing, others, if you deliver value, you'll be rewarded. So.
I mean, yes, I understand it's a pandemic response. However, my husband watches a lot of TV, and it's like the drug pushing is just unbelievable. I mean, every commercial in between, the morning shows, it's really quite.
As it's true confessions time, I used to work for Big Pharma.
I know you have confessed many times.
I was a pharmaceutical sales rep for Schering-Plough before Merck acquired them. And I mean, no, for me, I think pharmaceutical companies are, I won't say that the devil's spawn, but next to insurance companies, there's 2 of my least favorite businesses.
Yeah, it's an invention, but it's not only, it gets into the psyche of the person. Even I'm not even watching it, but I'm walking through the area where my husband's watching it, and I'm preparing meals, and I can hear it, and it's going somewhere into your
your subconscious,
your gray matter or whatever. It's locking into some of your cellular memory. And I think that can affect a society, it's brainwashing. I mean,
well, you're not washing your brain unless you get in there with a little bit of Mr. Clean.
Yeah,
but I will tell you, I will sterilize your brain. Well, one of the things, it goes to the whole psychology within society, which is, and I know this from way back when, back in the 80s and 90s, I was teaching with a couple of other teachers and teaching doctors across the U.S. and parts of Canada. And one of the things is there is a psychology that is deeply driven down into our brains in society in general, particularly Western society, that
Absolutely.
if you have a problem, a pain, or any sort of a condition, you take a pill to solve that problem. Now, the good thing is, what I recognized is when I was doing a lot of supplementation and functional medicine, people would buy into the idea that you could take a pill, a
Take a
vitamin
pill.
pill, a supplement, and get better. So that actually was an easy transition into getting people to eat a more natural and live a more healthful lifestyle because of the pill psychology that's deeply
The
implanted.
anti-pill, you mean the anti-pill?
Well, not the anti-pill. I mean, it's not like the Matrix where it's the red pill or the blue
Right.
pill.
No, but you're saying they got people to eat better, so they eat better instead of?
No. You transition them from a medication, a pill, into taking a vitamin pill, and then make that supplement a transition into eating more natural and healthful foods.
So that's the sort of
that to me is the sort of the psychological bridge from pure allopathic medicine into functional medicine. So, boy, we really got off on a tangent today. So.
I remember Woody Allen's Sleeper, the Sleeper movie where he takes the pill instead of eating, you're taking a pill.
Yeah.
And of course you can have burgers. I mean, I think burgers aren't as maligned as they were maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago. So
there's lean grass-fed beef nowadays.
Yeah. So it was, it's this take a pill, then we will, it'll help all our ills, but and it's not even about even taking a pill anymore. It's about having the disease. All the commercials are about having the disease, and the symptom pattern that they talk about is like, it's not that bad, but
except for
have a few aches.
Except for the fact that my favorite list of symptoms would end with fatal events.
Yeah. So those are side effects. Those are the side.
A fatal event is your side effect.
Don't they even say death? I don't know.
No, they actually my favorite was it was the euphemism for death. It was fatal event is what it was listed, not death.
Fatal attraction of a fatal event.
You're getting too close, Glenn, for that fatal attraction. Anyway.
Yeah. So I don't know where we started with that.
I think the whole thing is just, it's a good idea to mask up, Buttercup, and I'm just talking to our Instagram people here, to mask up and to maintain some social distancing, still wash your hands, use hand sanitizer. If you've been unvaccinated, all the more so, because you do not want to wind up as some people whom we know who have wound up in ERs and ICUs and on ventilators and stuff like that, because it ain't no fun.
I mean, it could potentially be a fatal event.
A fatal event. Yeah.
Fatal event. Yeah.
So with looking towards more life-affirming events, perhaps we should go to Q&A at this point.
Let's go to Q&A.
Yay for Q&A.
Bravo.
Hey, thank you all for submitting your questions. We do our best to provide you with the answers, and we do encourage you to submit more questions, both to Instagram, to Facebook, to the Total Health. Well, the Total Health group, you can request access, but Coaching for Health, you can reach Monika there on her page, and also at coachingforhealth.com with any questions. You can send her an email, because Monika loves her email.
I love my emails. I love them even more when my Outlook's working properly.
Yeah, exactly. I abandoned Outlook a long time ago, but that's a tech question for later.
For a different broadcast.
A different broadcast. So we have from the Midwest, we have Trish from Lincoln, Nebraska. She asks, her question is, I feel like I can't get through the day without having snacks in between or in between snacks. I try to have healthy snacks like nuts, cheese, fruit 50% of the time, but I'm having chips, pretzels, or chocolate, I guess, the other half of the time. How can I either stop snacking or at least choose better snacks 100% of the time? That's a good question, Trish. Monika has your answer.
I have your answer. So I'm glad 50% of your snacks are healthier.
No kidding.
Yeah, but snacking is a habit, and it takes a little bit of practice and consciousness to want to alter some. And it sounds like you want to alter that habit of yours.
Well, yeah, she's asking, how can I stop it or at least choose better snacks? So
those snacks, the not so good snacks, keep them out of your house. Do not buy them. Do not have anybody else buy them, because when you're tired and angry, upset, stressed, anxious, you're going to reach for those things because they give you instant relief on some level, whether it's the high carbohydrate or the high salt or the high sugar. They're going to give you that relief instantaneously, but it's not so healthy for you. And it perpetuates a need to have more and more and more of the same thing.
Yeah.
So those refined carbohydrates are going to spike your blood sugar, especially if there's sugar. Well, they're going to spike your blood sugar, and then you're going to drop, and then you're going to want some more, and you're going to want some more, and want, and one of the reasons might be your meals aren't sufficient enough. You may not be putting everything that you need into your meals, like good fats and healthy protein and some fruits and vegetables. So that's where you might want to start. And, look at what you're eating. If it's high carb, you're going to start craving high carbs in between meals as well.
Right.
Start your day off that way. Also, give yourself a schedule. Absolutely so important. I know a lot of people resist this, but it's so important to just give yourself a schedule. Most of your day has some type of schedule. So I would, recommend you start doing that and start keeping a food journal if you can, so you can actually see, oh yeah, maybe I am doing some of those things Monika just said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you can even put the food journal on your phone if you want to, because a lot of people don't want to carry around a physical journal. So
you can. I like the actual physical writing.
I know.
Of things, and it's actually better for you because it connects that action connects with the brain, a part of your brain that anchors this in better, versus tech doesn't do that. It just doesn't.
And we're a Navy town here in Coronado, so it's anchors away.
Yes, Coronado.
Naval Air Station time. So hopefully, Trish, that's helpful to you. I think the best thing, availability is the big thing. I mean, if there's ice cream in the freezer in this house, I will eat it. Although I've gotten a lot better over the pandemic. In fact, there was a Ben and Jerry's in there that lasted 5 weeks before I touched it. So
I tell you, my new favorite thing is watermelon. Of course, I love watermelon. In the summer, it's better. But someone that works here, I asked, I'm looking for a watermelon that has watermelon seeds because they're so good for kidney and bladder. They're so good. Seeds are so good. And he came back from the store with this huge, I think it weighed 20 pounds. It was a $17 watermelon.
A $17 watermelon?
Yeah, I've never heard of a $17 watermelon.
It's like buying turkey for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, exactly. It weighed as much as a turkey, if not more. But yeah, it was $17 but delicious. Yeah. Now I have to cut it up and give it to everybody because there's no way that, everyone who comes into my home gets some watermelon.
You mean you're not eating 17 pounds of watermelon today?
No way.
No way. It's a great, isn't it a diuretic too? I think a little bit.
It's so good. Watermelon. Well, yeah, it's kidney bladder. Yeah. It really is very healing. And, people who are like the seedless movement, so crazy. The seedless movement. I can't have seeds because, they get in my teeth or whatever. So, we are born from seeds.
We don't see seedless cucumbers, do we? I've never seen one of those.
No. Yes, there are some
seedless pumpkins.
Maybe the Persian ones. They're smaller, maybe. Yeah. But there's just a lot of like seedless grapes. Yeah. That's what I can think of off the top of my head. But there's a lot of foods.
I've never seen a seedless avocado. There's never a seedless avocado though, because that's a pitted. That's pitted. A big old pit.
It's a pit. And it's so good. So good.
So Trish, hopefully you're not in the pits about this, but I would say, reduce your availability of those particular snack foods like the chocolate, the pretzels, and those chips. You could try kale chips, for example. We used to make them. Actually, they were really good. Yeah. And they gave you that crunchy type of sensation, the mouthfeel that people tend to desire.
Yeah, people want that. Or nuts and seeds.
Yeah. I love my sunflower seeds. So my sunflower seeds are probably one of the favorites that I have.
Pumpkins, sunflower seeds. Now, do
Pumpkin.
you get it in the shell or do you get it shelled?
I just get raw ones that are already shelled because I ain't got no time. My life is short at this point. I don't have enough time to shell those.
I usually get the pistachios with shells.
Yeah, pistachio with shells are okay. They're easier to shell.
Yeah, and it slows down your eating as well.
I don't want to slow down my eating. I want to rapid eating. I've had learned to chew, though, the 32 times or so. I don't quite do the 32 times. I know that for a fact. But yeah, 32 times is long. If I do 20, I feel happy. So.
The saying is drink your food and eat your liquid, meaning that you chew your food as much so it becomes very liquidy and it's completely masticated, it's completely chewed up. So
and note that we say mastication very with a great deal of enunciation just to avoid confusion.
Mastication, yes.
Mastication.
And drink, when I say drink or eat your
drink, how do I eat my water though? I could see it in the form of ice, but
did you see how I did that?
I did not, because I was looking at Instagram.
Well, so you did it.
I did. I chewed my water.
Chewed your water.
I mean, when you have too much particulate matter in your water, you can chew the water, and that's not a good thing to have happen.
Not eat your water, chew your water.
Don't chew your water. Chew your water.
So okay, we're still on question one.
We're on still question one. We may have to go to some of the other questions later, but let's go to staying in the Midwest in Kansas. Let's go to Vance from Topeka. All right, Topeka, Kansas. Vance says, on many days, I feel I find that at 1 p.m., after not eating anything all day, I'm starving and I have brain fog. I have a tough time changing this habit. I need help. Yeah, you do need help, Vance.
Yeah, don't you suffer from something like this, Christopher, yourself?
No, I actually don't. I cannot eat till 1 p.m. and then I'm actually okay. I start with the day with a cup of coffee, and if I want to do intermittent fasting, I'm actually okay at noon or 1 p.m. Finally eating my breakfast.
I chose this question. We get a lot of questions, and I chose this one today because last week you had this situation, and I thought that this would be great because this was the specific situation we had.
You're going to roast me on this one? No, the problem that I've had in the past too is if I haven't eaten enough the previous day, that's when I might be super, super hungry at 1 o'clock.
Good. Well, that's good to make that distinction because that might be the same case with Vance.
But I've had days personally, Vance. I've had days where I'm not hungry till 2 or 3 p.m. So the question in my mind is, I have plenty of fat that I can burn at this point. I went back to getting, my 10 pounds of pandemic pounds, and so I'm not too worried as long as I'm well hydrated. I mean, if I drink a ton of water, I find often that I'm not as hungry during the day as I would normally be. So.
Yeah, sometimes we think we're hungry and it's really we're thirsty. But for one, I'm usually 10 or 11 a.m. But I do love my cup of coffee in the morning with a little bit of half and half. So that sort of tides me over a little bit. But usually,
but you don't do the cream like in the Schwarzbein thing. You do half and half instead.
I do half and half. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Cream is too much. Cream is too rich for me.
Too creamy.
Too creamy. Too rich for me. It's I remember when that whole thing came out, and even Atkins, have the full. I remember when we were trying that, and you go to Starbucks and you'd order a breve.
What's
that? That was actually half and half. A breve.
A breve?
Yeah. So you'd have a latte, and instead of 2% or whole milk, you'd have half and half. Now that was pretty rich. That was pretty rich.
That's rich.
So I tried a couple of those.
When I put cream in, to me, that's the best way to consume coffee is a little bit of cream.
It's very European too. Cream. Yeah. So it's very half and half is enough for me.
Got it. Okay. So as far
some people don't even do it. They just do black or they do. Stay away from the skim milk.
Let's head back to Vance. Let's head back to Vance. I mean, so a lack of food's giving him brain fog. So what would you suggest? Like eat something early in the morning?
Eat something, yes. And don't eat, heavily carbohydrate or heavy sugar or cereal or lots of fruit. Here's the
Yeah.
thing. A lot of people have these fruit with yogurt. I would recommend that you put a little bit of protein in there, like some cottage cheese, and mix it up. You don't have to have a lot, but just some.
Wait, put
Just
cottage cheese in your yogurt?
yeah. You mix
Oh,
it together with
interesting.
you mix the yogurt and the cottage cheese and your
Yeah.
fruit, and maybe even some nuts in there, some almonds or whatever you like.
Yeah.
And so it's not just like a lot of carbohydrates. So you want to slow down the sugar uptake.
Yeah, Vance, you don't want to be doing Trisha's diet by having chips and pretzels or other things like that, before 1 o'clock. So
Yeah, or eggs. Have some eggs. And
eggs are
again,
great.
maybe you're too busy. Maybe there's something going on, and you're just or it's not a priority, or something.
Right.
There's some reason you're not eating. But if you're having some symptoms, your body's telling you need to change what's going on. Even a couple of tablespoons of almond butter might help you.
Yeah, I'm a fan of the almond butter. I like it so much better than peanut butter. Peanut butter bugs the living daylights out of me. And it's probably, as I've mentioned before, it's probably because my dad used to have a peanut butter sandwich at noon every single day of his life. We're talking about like 90 years of peanut butter lunches.
So why does that turns you off? Because he
it's just the smell bothers me after
I
so many years. And I think I was a little sensitive to fungus. So some of the alpha toxins that are in peanuts, I don't have a peanut allergy. I just don't really care for the stuff. And I found if I ate too much peanut butter, I would actually wheeze a little bit. So maybe I was slightly sensitive to it. Who knows?
Yeah. Maybe they're making peanuts differently, because over the last like maybe 5 years, if I have too many peanuts or too peanut butter, if it's a consistency like every day for a while, I will start feeling something like in the back of my throat.
I think it's sort of like, it reminds me of the whole thing about how grains are stored in North America, where they're probably stored in wet, warm locations for long periods of times, and they get the alpha toxins or fungus that's kind of growing maybe on the peanut shells for all we know. So.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Peanuts are not a nut; they're actually a bean. So, bean
there, done that. I think so. So hopefully, Vance, that helps you. If you have any other questions or you want to do a follow up here, just reach out and send us a message. So, do you want to go with New Mexico?
Sure. Is that the next question?
Next one, yeah. Well, it is. I mean, it's Deirdre. Actually, Dredria? Dreid. Deirdre. I think Deirdre, looks like
Deirdre.
Dr. Deirdre. Okay. Deirdre from Santa Fe, she said, I've started a weight loss program that requires me to weigh my food. I am very resistant. Why is it so important to weigh my food?
You can't change what you don't weigh or measure. So
weigh.
Yes, weigh. And it's actually a great thing to sort of train your eye to see what actually a portion looks like.
Yep.
So you're not overeating, and it gives you some. I mean, it's not for the rest of your life. It's just a training tool to train your mind. And this is really, really excellent for people who have an issue with portion control.
Yeah. Well, I think in so many ounces or so. I mean, people think that, if they're given 6 ounces, okay, I can have 6 ounces of beef today or chicken. And what they don't realize is they're probably consuming 12 or 16 ounces.
Yeah, exactly. People have a misconception about what is a healthy
portion size. What is a portion size? Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, I know I've mentioned before, when I was growing up, we would call it the American size meals, which were always humongous compared to what I grew up with. You'd go across the border and American size. It was the American size.
Well, this is what's interesting, because actually, fast food restaurants, when you supersize something, the American portion is already supersized relative to the rest of the world.
Yeah.
And so it's like extra supersized. So.
Yeah. So that's not a good thing. So, societally, it's like that, especially in this country, as we're saying. So you want to just do it. There are some really easy little scales you can buy on Amazon, and you just, use that. And also, it's not even just the portion sizes. It's also trying to have a balance between your proteins and your carbohydrates and your fats as well. So measuring tools are beneficial. Food scale, also the bathroom scale. I don't recommend that you weigh yourself every day because that can play all sorts of numbers on your brain. But once a week, that would be a healthy way.
Or even once a month if you're really freaked out by the scale.
Well, if you're on a weight loss program, I would recommend it more frequently so you get a sense about where you're at. But daily, there's so many fluctuations.
But the scale lies. And the reason I say that is I have a lot of friends who go to the gym regularly, and they have actually increased their weight but dropped their dress size and waist size for the men. Yeah. And because they've just gained more muscle. So the scale doesn't tell you everything.
And muscle weighs more than fat.
And muscle burns more fat.
And that's the benefit of it. You become a fat burning machine when you start becoming leaner. And that's,
I will say, you're not a lean, mean fat burning machine, but you're a lean, keen fat burning machine. So.
Yes, very lean and keen. And lean and keen. Mean, I don't know.
You don't have to be mean. You don't have to be mean. Anyway, so hopefully, Deidre, that answers your question. Are we going to be able to go through all these questions today? We might try. We're trying to keep these programs a little shorter, but I think, we might as well go for it since those of you who are on Instagram are watching too. So let's go to number 4 today. To the great state of Louisiana, Katie from Baton Rouge asks, she says, I've recently been having a lot of stomach bloating and loose stools. Sorry about that. I've been to the gastroenterologist and nothing seems to be wrong. Is there anything that you would recommend?
Well, I would first look at your diet just to see what you're eating. There might be something that you're reacting to. Yep. So your gastroenterologist, I don't know if he did some parasitology testing or some other kinds of testing that's not a regular thing that mainstream medicine does, but there are all sorts of different functional medicine tests that can be done. They're a little more expensive, but I would review your diet. First of all, I mean, is it something new? Did it just start? Is it maybe you're eating more fruits in the summertime, which maybe cause some of that loose stool, and also increase sugar and, possibly candida in your intestinal tract, your gastrointestinal tract. So it could be a number of things.
I was going to say one easy test, Katie, is just to try some digestive enzymes and see if that solves the problem.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good to have the food journal, but you could actually, as a home remedy, if you will, you could try just a broad spectrum digestive enzyme.
Is there such a thing as a broad spectrum digestive enzyme?
No. I take one.
They call it broad spectrum. You can try some probiotics.
It has lipase, amylase, proteases, different things like that. So it will digest. It will help you to digest fats, carbohydrates, and proteins. The interesting thing about it is that as we age, our digestive enzyme production tends to decline over time. So sometimes that actually, maybe this is something, is he recently even having it? It could be as simple as too many carbs. Well, they look at it here.
Yeah, it could be too many carbs. Maybe you're having too much magnesium for some reason. Maybe not, but I don't see why you would be. But you might want to get some probiotics as well. But if you are going to do something like that, start taking a supplement or change your diet. Do one thing at a time so you can start isolating it. And I think the best is just to work with someone who knows and can help you through this process, because there's a lot of things that you might assume or you're not clear about. And this isn't normal. What you're experiencing is not normal. So you want to have a healthy digestive system, and the digestive process needs to be functional. So definitely. You want to be
Monica can help you. Should you choose?
I can help you.
For her. That would be my call to action for today is contact
Monica. Call to action. Call me up.
Call me. Operators, Monica standing by. Hey, let's go to Colorado. We're gradually moving west. Simon from Colorado Springs asks, my cholesterol is 300 and I've got high blood pressure. The doctor tells me I need to change my diet and start exercising. Is there any diet plan you would recommend? Boy, that has to be individualized on this one, on all of them. So.
Yeah, two things that would help you would be exercise and diet for sure. Is your high cholesterol, are you responsive to, but two things that I would probably recommend is start having some essential fatty acids to your, add that to your diet, as well as some fiber to your diet. And also exercise would be really a good idea. There are great blood pressure. I'm not sure if you're taking blood pressure medication yet, but there are some good blood pressure supplements. And certainly, as I mentioned on a previous person, magnesium is something that you can, that would help you, and potassium as well with your blood pressure. And Hawthorn is really good for blood pressure as well.
Hawthorn is good for blood pressure. Surprisingly, chiropractic adjustments are good for lowering blood pressure in many cases. There's
chiropractic adjustments are good for everything.
There's a significant body of research that shows that chiropractic adjustments can help you to reduce high blood pressure. So, if the doctor's telling you to change your diet, I would wonder, does the doctor give you anything specific that you needed to change? And as far as exercising goes, you need to tailor that to your current physical abilities. I mean, Simon, I don't know your age or your current weight or your activity level, but I would say, you have to really work with a professional to design something that's just right for you.
Yeah, I would look at lifestyle changes first and foremost before you start looking at statins. Your doctor did say diet. Most physicians don't really, won't be able to counsel you in dietary. I mean, it's not their specialty, and most of them, it's not their specialty. So you want to work with someone that can help you design something specifically for you. Well, and certainly,
I was going to say, and time is a factor too, because the average family physician's working on like a 5 or 6 minute visit, sometimes 3 minutes. They write the prescription. That's the sign that your visit with the Oracle is done. So
yeah, even some of the functional doctors, they refer to people that are in the specialty of clinical nutrition, for example. I used to work with one, and so the patient would spend an hour with them, because a lot of functional medicine docs spend more time, and then they'd walk down the hall and come into my office, and I'd explain everything the doctor just mentioned in practical terms, so that it could apply, whether it's blood work, that they got results of blood work and they need to do this and this and this. So I would give them practical solutions and ideas about how to integrate changes into their day. So and it's small steps. It's not, because it can be really overwhelming if you're getting, these blood results and you don't know, like, it's scary. So, so there are definitely ways that this can be altered, and you can heal yourself.
Yeah. And so I think that's, it's important. Find something that works for you too, as far as exercise is concerned, something that you enjoy doing. I enjoy dancing. That's still one of mine. You're a long time dancer.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, my office staff back in when I was working in the DC area, they were concerned because I was working in the office sometimes till 9 or 10 o'clock at night doing reports and things, and so they signed me up for country western dances back in the early 90s.
You like country western? Yeah. I was going to ask you. I can't see you doing hip hop.
I don't need to do hip hop, but I'm pretty good at West Coast swing, and now that I live on the West Coast, it's easier for me to swing.
Are you doing it?
Not well. Only unofficially is kitchen dancing. So
kitchen dancing. There you go.
I've got a great partner.
I'm a dancer,
a great partner who follows me well. Yeah, you were doing ballet, so
I did everything. Even when I was a little girl. I mean, one of my songs, they called me "Let the Little Girl Dance." It was like this old song.
Let the little girl dance. Hey, so Simon, try dancing. I hope you got a good partner. So we have a final question today.
Final question. And the final question is.
And the final question is for $500. This question is Jane from Sedona, Arizona. I love Sedona. Jane, I've been to Sedona like 3 times. You're in a beautiful place. She says, I love to walk for exercise, but lately it's been too hot, even in the mornings. I guess I could start swimming, but I miss my walks. I'm new to the area. Oh, you're new to the area. So I wasn't prepared for the extreme heat. Signed, Melting in Paradise. Well, we actually know your name is Jane. So I was just checking here, Jane. It's currently 106 degrees in Sedona, but good news. Tomorrow will only be 102, and your nighttime lows are in the 70s. So I would get out there early in the morning as quickly as you can, just when sunrise comes.
Well, that would be sounds like it's too hot for her, even still.
Well, at 75 degrees, I don't think so, Jane. Jane, you need to toughen up a little bit.
Watch out for those tarantulas too.
The tarantulas. Well, I mean, so for example, Jane, in the morning it's around 72, 75. It's getting cooler. I mean, it'll only be 86 degrees on the 14th on Bastille Day. So you're good, Jane. So, but I can understand why it might be a shocker. I mean, maybe she came from Minnesota.
Depends where you came from. But Vancouver. Yeah. It was so hot in Vancouver a couple of weeks ago. It was just unbelievably hot, 100-ish, and they don't have air conditioning. Most places don't have air conditioning. So my sister just sold her home that had a pool. She had it for 40 years and a pool. And of course her comment was, as she was reporting about the temperature, she said, I wish I had a pool.
I wish I had a pool. Well, that
she doesn't have one anymore.
That pool would be bathwater at this point. So. But I think things are cooling down. Well, when it's like 100+ degrees, your pool heats up significantly.
Yeah, but it's still refreshing to be in the water and just splashing around.
Throw a few ice cubes in there.
So yeah, I mean, you might, since you are in Sedona, you might want to start thinking about some other exercises you could do. I don't know if you want to go to the gym and use a treadmill. I mean, there's nothing like walking outside in the fresh air.
Or get a Peloton in the AC of your place. So.
Yeah, but swimming is a great thing. Swimming, but maybe you don't like swimming. So just as Christopher was saying was it Vance, I think? Find something you enjoy.
Yeah. I mean, so the swimming is fine. I mean, it's one of those things that, unfortunately, with the advent of climate change, or at least recently, I mean, we have severe drought warnings in 50 out of 55 counties here in California. But I mean, the heat has been, I know, terribly oppressive in the Pacific Northwest recently.
Everyone has. Well, it's not now, but everyone has swimming pools I'm not sure about Sedona, but I think
I don't know about Sedona because. Sedona is pretty dry from walking around there, but I will say that
it's a tourist area, so I think that a lot of I don't know. Are there pools?
You might have I think, I notice in a lot of communities, and it's true here in San Diego, you can get membership in a hotel pool if you're a local, and that's often a good option if you don't want to go to the wire.
Are there a lot of pools in Sedona? Please let us know. I know here where I live, there's a lot of people that have a lot of pools. There's a lot of pools in
there'd be a bunch of fools with pools.
And I actually belong to the pool, what's it called now? It's called it's an athletic club that has a beautiful pool just around the corner.
The LA Athletic Club? No.
Not LA. Oh. Close.
The Ventura Athletic Club?
Not Ventura.
The VAC?
Right. I keep my actual location private, but
yeah, but you just told us you can walk across to Ventura, so now we're all going to kind of do our map quest.
Could be anywhere.
Could be anywhere along the border. Hey, so I'm going to turn you folks off on Instagram here. I'm sorry to turn you off here, but we're running towards the end of our show. Are you sure you want to end your live video? Yeah, I'm going to end it now because there we go. Good. All right. So is there anything else you want to cover here?
I think we're good. Are you okay?
You just poked my eye out with my...
Thank you again for joining us on this post...
post what? Post 4th of July? Post Canada Day? Postpartum?
Yeah, postpartum. Happy 9th.
Happy Bastille Day to all of you Frenchies who celebrate it.
Yes. Well,
Wishing you an early Happy Bastille Day. Oh, we had a comment here that I missed totally. Oh, it was Cam, my friend Cam. He says walking is always helpful and low impact. I think so, unless you've got some knee problems or ankle problems, Cam. I can tell you that. That's been one of my issues periodically, is that I blew out both of my ankles through multiple sprains, and so sometimes walking is even challenging for me, which is why I'm thinking of getting a bicycle. So,
yeah, I actually agree with our Sedona friend. It's kind of hot here. It gets hot where I am. So sometimes people are really busy in the morning and they can't really do the morning walks, unfortunately.
But you can alter your schedule if you really put your mind to it. I mean, it depends. I know that I have friends who even do Zoom exercise classes now at 6:30 in the morning.
Yeah, absolutely.
And for a half hour of at-home exercise, and they're not even using equipment. They're just doing all calisthenics and other things directed by a trainer. So
yeah, you don't need a lot of stuff. You just need a computer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or a really good TV.
That's right. Well, all right. Yeah, so good. We'll see you next week, I guess. That's a wrap for us.
We will see you post Bastille Day, so go easy on that escargot. And Cam, you're talking again. What are you saying? You just picked up something. What's he picking up? Oh, picked up a recumbent bike for the house. Kim, that is an excellent idea.
Fantastic. Yeah. I have a recumbent bike in my garage under some boxes.
It's not acting as a clothes hanger.
No, it's great though, but we don't have any room in the house for it, so
yeah, there's something about dancing. Recumbent bikes are great. I've seen people on the streets with recumbent bikes, and for some reason that just still freaks me out a little bit from time to time.
How do they move? A recumbent bike is a stationary bike.
No, they're back, and they have a recumbent bike. They're pretty much
it's not a stationary recumbent.
No, it's not a stationary recumbent.
That would be funny.
It's a mobile or movable, or
that would be interesting.
They're on the move. They're in the groove on the move.
Like a stationary recumbent bike on a truck.
Could do that for a little bit of fresh air. So yeah, we had the 4th of July parade here in Coronado, and there were a lot of folks who were on flatbeds, bands, and others. There was even a ukulele club.
That's why the Delta variant is increasing.
Well, I mean, I think the ukulele players, from what I remember, were all vaccinated, so they were okay playing together.
Did it say something on their foreheads?
It said something like, I'm vaxxed, and that's just the facts. So anyway, we'll be back next week.
We'll be back. Have a great one. Thanks for joining us.
Enjoy your Bastille Day. Bye.